Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday something, I don't even know what it is, November. So, been quite a long time. Not that I haven't been very busy, just haven't been doing any videos, but you never know. Might change someday and start doing them more regularly. We shall see. Anywho, so much stuff to discuss, things that are new. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. Of course, right offhand, we see basically the main project for the winter. We will get back to this in a little bit. I mean, there's new stuff over there. I guess to start off, let's see, where did I leave off? Okay, so around the end of September, or mid-September, I should say, I purchased this Balsa USA quarter scale cub. There we go. All fabric covered, very old, kind of beat up, but not too bad. I mainly bought it because it came with a set of floats, and it has a Quadra 42 on it, which I'm still recovering from the Quadra 42. uh, it happens. What can I say? A spring start on a very slippery morning with the prop covered in water. Who would have thought it would have slipped? Oh well. It's been a while, but it felt nice. So anyways, been flying that quite a bit. Absolutely love it. I haven't had... I've wanted a Cub again for a long time, but I wanted one that flew like a Cub. My old third scale, the big red one with the DLE 111, that didn't fly like a Cub. That was an aerobatic airplane. And this is a stock Balsa USA, so it has no joiner tube. When you bolt the wings on from the inside, if the struts are not attached to the fuselage, the wings will droop. And I do all sorts of aerobatics with it, and as long as it's done the right way, the wings will not come off. But if you abuse the airplane, the wings will basically rip the fuselage in half. So very fun. And then after that, I ended up purchasing yet another AT-6. This is a yellow aircraft. Basically, the main difference between the yellow and the Byron is the Byron has the center section that's molded into the fuselage, where this has a removable three-piece wing. G62 up front. It hasn't been flown in probably 5 or so years, but I've known this particular airplane for many years, and when my good buddy Randy offered it up for sale, I jumped on it. What can I say? I'm a sucker for a T6, and plus, I know it flies great. Needs a little bit of work. The center section's kind of boogered up, canopy's cracked, but I can fix the center section. I have a brand new canopy for it already that just needs to be installed, so we're good to go there. So let's see, after that, I bought that, that was mid-September, beginning of October, and on October 1st, that is the official beginning of my building season. Well, either October 1st or the first weekend in October, however that works out. I was planning on building a 1/5 scale Merce Models F-86. In fact, I sold my jets. I sold a lot of airplanes this year, but I sold the jets to fund building the new F-86. So I bought the gear, I bought the turbine, and I am still currently unable to get the actual wood for the jet. So that was stuck on hold. So I'm like, well, I need to start building something. So I dusted off my old set of plans for a giant Lanier Stinger. This is the original Stinger, which is the 84-inch span. One-piece foam wing. Yes, you can see I'm watching Byron Original stuff. Who would have thought? Yeah, one-piece wing, foam core. Cut the foam cores myself. And this thing has been really trying my patience. The black covering is all the new cover, and what a chore it has been to cover this very simple airplane. Unreal. It's been a chore. I mean, it looks nice and everything, but I had to work for it. And typically, this is the type of airplane I could cover in my sleep. I mean, everything is all square. It's simple, except for this stuff. This kind of situation doesn't just happen. That takes time. And once again, when I was doing this, I think I did these either last weekend or 2 weekends ago. I can't remember. I think I finished them up last weekend. The new cover is nice because it is a lower temp film. It's got more gloss than Ultra Coat. I mean, when you look at this thing, I mean, the reflectiveness of it is fantastic. And the finish is nice, don't get me wrong, but I really had to work for it. Anyways, I had some difficulties with the covering over covering because this is all open base structure. I actually did the fin and rudder twice because I wasn't happy with how it turned out. And I'm not sure if the camera will pick it up. Yep, it does. So you notice on the rudder portion, there's a couple little bubbles here and there, but not too bad. But up on the fin, you can really see that it's rather freckled. So, what happened here? Up here on the fin, I tried doing what I would normally do with monocoat when I have covering over an open base structure, is I puncture the black covering underneath first. So when I put the red, yellow, and green pieces on, the air has somewhere to go. It doesn't get trapped between the two coverings. That worked beautiful, except the new cover is very thin, which is why you can see each one of those little dots I poked in there. So after I did that, I went, well, that's not going to work. I mean, they only look bad if you get really, really close to it. Like when you're just looking at it like normal, yeah, you can't tell it's there. So on the rudder and the rest of the tail, this is just done covering over top of the covering, no puncturing, no anything like that, just trying to go very slow. And anywhere I get a bubble, I would just poke it with a hypodermic needle. And it turned out pretty well. It took a lot of time. Holy mackerel. Not only a lot of time to put each individual color on there, but to get the spacing right, because this is not a black pinstripe. These pieces here are cut from the same template and then spaced out on the airplane with this, very proper gap between the colors. And it turned out really nice, don't get me wrong, but I really miss monocoat. I mean, look at that. I mean, look at the reflectiveness of that. It almost looks like it's just going right through the tail. Isn't that cool? That's actually kind of trippy, isn't it? That's how you know you got everything lined up, too. So, yeah. Just about a half hour or an hour or so ago, I finished covering the wing as far as the black. The fuselage, I wrapped all that up last weekend, so that is done. There's no more covering that's going on the fuselage. To my knowledge, I don't think I'm going to be adding anything else to it. It's going to have some graphics and stuff like that, but as far as covering goes, I think it's done. And this wing took forever to cover. And it's not just because of the size. I mean, yeah, it's big, but like I said, this covering was really testing my patience. Ugh, I really miss monocoat. Let's get underneath here. As usual, when I mated the wing to the fuselage, I use epoxy and micro balloons on the fillet or the wing saddle, and you cannot tell that wing is a separate part of the airplane. Once again, look at that wing. Look at the reflectiveness of that material. It all depends. I mean, that's like a mirror. Wicked. Of course, on the top with the glare of the light, it looks all foggy and all that good stuff. And you look at this stuff cross-eyed and it smudges. But, yeah, all the fiberglass pieces, minus the cowl, all the fiberglass pieces are cut, mounted. Now I just need to do all the body work to them because they're pretty rough. Pretty rough. But turned out good. Got the engine for it, servos. And speaking of, servos, I decided to give these a try. The Free Sky Exact servos. These are the 5452s. They're not the ones I initially wanted to go with for this airplane. I think I wanted to do the 5454s, which are 400 ounces of torque. These ones here are roughly 200 ounces of torque at the voltage I'm going to be running, which is 6.6, which of course for a Stinger is way overkill. But these are also very fast. The 5454s, which are 400 ounces of torque, are a little bit slower. So these are going to be really, really quick. These are telemetry compatible servos, of course, for Free Sky, obviously. I'm not going to utilize any of that. I mean, it's neat that you can actually see, basically what your servo's doing. It allows you more programmability of the servos. I mean, the sky's the limit. With Free Sky equipment, it is absolutely insane what you can do. It's more than I'll ever do. I am not going to do anything telemetry with these servos. Some things I just don't want to know. I've had nothing but good luck throughout the years just using, basic modeling techniques and know-how, and it has not let me down. So, yeah, kind of neat. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll play with the telemetry thing since it's there, but I am not going to go around and update servos and update my receivers, and it's just too much updating crap. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll dink with it, maybe not. If anything, I'm just going to use it as a servo because they're pretty chunky. I mean, these are very, very heavy-duty servos, well built. So that's that. I bought a EP61, which is what's it called? EFIL. It's I believe they're made in Australia. Very, very similar quality to DLE, maybe a little higher quality. And so far, from everything I've heard, they are just killer engines. So we will see how that goes. We'll get back to this in a little bit to go over a couple more odds and ends on the inside. But after I started working on that, I started thinking to myself, I'm kind of bummed that I can't build the F-86. It's like I sold jets, I bought the turbine, I bought the gear. So now I'm, $3,500 already wrapped into the project, and I can't do anything because I can't get the wood yet. So I'm like, well, what can I do? So I started looking at L-39s. Several friends of mine have L-39s. My buddy RJ has the Top RC, which I've put several flights on. Absolutely love it. Flies great. Another friend of mine, Eric, has the, I believe it's called Jet Ruler L-39, which I really, really liked. And we were talking about it at the field last month. And I'm like, I had already pulled the trigger in my head. I'm like, this will work. The King Tech 142 that I had would have gone in it just fine. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. Went home, went to order it. The price went up $1,000. Automatically turned me off. I'm like, nope, not happening. So then I remembered that Black Horse Models sells several different sizes of L-39s. Now, of course, this is a wood jet. It's all wood and covered with that nasty, nasty film. Oh my God. Whoever thought of this needs to be slapped. I mean, beaten within an inch of their life. This is terrible. Who thought this was a good idea? Anyways. So I am totally fine having the jet covered with a big sticker, because it is. This is a giant sticker. And there are people out there saying, no, this is an iron-on film. This is not a sticker. Yes, it's a sticker. Listen, quiet. It's a sticker, okay? Get over it, people. Now, I bought it already knowing that this ain't going to happen. And the reason I went for this one versus the jet ruler, which I was already looking at, is this is $3,000 cheaper. Now, it doesn't come with the servos. It requires a lot more assembly, which I'm fine with. I mean, it comes with the pipe, it comes with the fuel tank, retracts, brakes, all that stuff. But you got to put it together, and you got to add your own servos. I got servos. That's no big deal. Putting it together, yeah, I don't care. I mean, I'm used to doing stuff like this, so putting together an ARF. And you notice I'm saying I'm going to put it together / assemble it. I'm not building this. I hate it when people say, this is my build. I built this. Nobody has built one of these. The Chinese people build these. You know, if you're going to say you're a builder, you better be building something. Anywho, little rant. If you're going to claim to be something, you know, you gotta be able to do the work. So, anyways, I've been assembling this jet, and the nice thing about this icky finish is this is ink. This is printed onto the vinyl, and this wipes right off with acetone. I mean, it wipes it right down to a bare white vinyl, which is perfect because I have already started painting it. Before we get too into it, it's two-piece. It's not meant to be separated with ease. It's a two-piece because it's almost 100 inches long, which makes it easier to ship. So yeah, that will be permanently joined. As I'm doing the painting and stuff, I'll keep them separated just so I don't have to paint this whole thing in one shot. But anyways, back to the L39 saga I was going through. The top RC was too big for my turbine, and a lot of money. The jet ruler, the price went up, which made me mad, so I didn't buy one. And this one is actually bigger than the jet ruler. It's smaller than the top RC, so it's right in the middle, and it's great. And once again, it's big. I mean, it's the same length as a carbon 35% extra, so that's a good size jet. But I have already started the paint work. Kind of see the scheme that I'm going for here. It's there are so many different schemes for the L39s. They have been used in so many different areas. Lots of schemes. I wanted something military, and I wanted something non-camouflage. That's where it got a little bit difficult to find a good scheme. And this scheme that I found right here, I believe, is in, was it Uzbekistan? I don't know. They're one of those faraway lands. And I had a hard time finding this gray color. And as you see, when we hold this up, when I put it over here, this gray almost has like a green tone to it. But then when I bring it over here in different light, it has almost a blue tone. And that's exactly the color I was looking for and struggling to find. And I ended up finding, believe it or not, a Krylon spray paint. Just Krylon Fusion. It's called Dark Pearl. It's a matte colored spray paint. So what I did is I masked off the bottom. So the bottom still has the print that comes on the material. And it's kind of a grayish green, you know, really weathered. So I just left the bottom as is. And I painted the top all the way to where that nasty color scheme overlaps onto the bottom. And last night, painted the tips yellow, and that turns out really good. I mean, you know, you look at it in just the right light, you can see the imperfections in the sheeting because it is a wood airplane, and it is what it is. But I'm totally fine with that. That's totally fine. This is something that could be stripped and glassed down the road, which I don't think I'm going to do, but So my initial thoughts, or what I was intending to do with this, was to paint it with Warbird Colors, which is a water-based polyurethane. I was going to spray it with a gun, but I had a hard time getting the color that I liked. Because I found this color scheme online, and just like how this paint looks, I couldn't figure out if it was a greenish gray or a bluish gray, because the pictures that I have of the full scale are all different. Just like this paint, depending on where you look at it. I mean, just look at the wings compared to no shadow and a shadow. It's just a totally different color. But that's absolutely spot on. The wings I painted yesterday. I primed them first, even though I wiped all of that nasty print off there. That vinyl material takes paint and primer beautifully. But I did the same thing that I did on the stabs. The bottom is left with the traditional, print, with an exception as I prime the tip, because this is all going to be yellow. Yeah, and this is all done. This one I may end up respraying because there's a big scratch, I think, from when I was wet sanding the primer, but you probably can't see it, and it doesn't really show up that much. So the more I think about it, I'm probably not going to do anything. It's fine. It's still a wood and sticker covered ARF. The whole intent was to get it looking a lot nicer than, the SpongeBob color scheme that's on it for not a lot of money. I mean, once again, this was $3,000 cheaper and bigger than the one I was planning on getting. And it's turned out well so far. I mean, in the hardware, all the hardware bags are labeled. Everything is really good. The hardware is actually not bad. Wingtip tanks, you can see remnants of the original color. I primed them up. These are all going to be yellow. That's all done. Looks good. Let's see. Flaps, more of the same. Left the bottom traditional. Masked off this portion here to keep it the same color as kind of the inside of the wing structure. It has paint on it. And painted these. And it's a pretty durable finish too. If I really go to town on it with my fingernail, it will scratch. But this stuff is pretty tough. Which is the main reason I opted to go with this spray paint versus the Warbird colors. Because Warbird colors, you pretty much have to clear it. Because it kind of has the similar durability as automotive base coat. It needs to be protected. It needs to be cleared. Or else it's just not going to be very strong. So that's where we're at on that. So I'm just, I'm only dabbling with this a little bit on the weekends. As usual, I really don't play with anything down here during the week. I usually come home from work, watch TV, and go to bed. Ooh, and got bored and decided to decorate a little bit over here. So up on the wall, I have some interesting things hanging up that have just been sitting around in corners collecting dust. First is a sign up here. You can still kind of read where it says Thunderbirds RC Club as the club logo. There's a faded chipmunk in the corner and a faded staggerwing in the other corner. This is the sign from the flying field where I very first flew a model airplane. Unfortunately, I got to the sign about 1 or 2 years too late before it got completely damaged by water. But I finally put it in a frame. It's rough, it's all faded, it's nasty looking, but it is there. Decided to display a few engines. Of course, we have the Byron Originals Biro Drive, Quadra 35 with a belt reduction system with the intent, and I put it up there so I can spin it over too. The intent for this was to be able to run a scale 4-blade prop on a 5th scale P51. So this is a setup for a Byron P51. Never seen fuel, never will see fuel. I'm not going to run it. Next to it is the belt drive for a 60 size glow 2-stroke. So belts are on there. The engine would normally sit in here and hook up that way. This was for the pits, the Byron pits, which I also have up here, which also has a belt drive system in it with an OS 60. So I'm running one of those drives in this airplane as well. Pretty cool. Makes 0 power, but it sounds neat. Underneath we have a OS 91 inside a fan unit, of course with tune pipe. Still a functional engine if I want to do it, if I wanted to. Now let's see how many people are going to know what this is. I stapled this thing to the wall just for fun. Who knows what that is? I mean, I do, but who knows that odd engine? Well, if you guessed a Super Tartan single, you're correct. Just a neat engine. And I finally was able to finish my vintage field box. Of course, it's all just display. It's got just nothing but a bunch of old busted stuff in it. Couple radios. We got a old glow driver system here. Tachometer. Of course, the Sullivan starter. Inside's full of goodies, old glow plugs, chicken stick props. And recently just got a K&B fuel can, which kind of, just sets it off and completes it up. I actually opened it to smell it. Good God. I don't know what was in there, but it does not smell good. So that's just kind of something neat. This is where I sit down when I pay bills, so I would rather see this kind of stuff when I'm paying bills. And just yesterday, let me zoom this out, I went and picked up this old giant beast of a float plane. This is an Ace Seamaster 120. As you can see, it's big. 88-inch wingspan. It's got a G38 on the front of it. It needs to be redone. It was basically in flyable condition. I tried to tighten up the covering and it was just giving up. So I figured I'm just gonna strip it down, recover it, make it in the same scheme so I don't have to, super polish up all the wood and all that good stuff. The wood pylon that the motor attaches to does have some cracks in it. So I'm going to drill some holes through it and pin it and probably glass it just to keep it strong. Because that's a heck of a shaker of an engine to be on that little pylon. So that should be fun. You don't see these very much anymore. And once again, I tried tightening up the covering on the wing and it just started peeling right off. So I'm just going to recover it. No big deal. Big old wing. All plywood. It's heavy, but they do fly good. The wingtip floats are very easily removed just with a couple screws. So, yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So that does it with all that stuff. What else have I been working on? Trying to think. And I do have a Zeroli Corsair over here that I've been tinkering with off and on. No plans on finishing it anytime soon. It's just money I don't want to spend and blah, 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 blah. I got enough things going on. So to kind of go over a little bit more with the Stinger, one of the most notable or noticeable things about a Stinger is the fact that the landing gear is swept back. Which you'll notice here, the gear is tapered backwards. Well, you can't find these gear anymore. Nobody makes these gear. And in order to bend gear to be tapered back, you can't just bend them backwards. It has to start as a piece that already is cut to be tapered. So what I did is I bent the gear. The gear is straight. It is 1/4 inch by 1 inch aluminum. Very easy to bend as long as you know what you're doing and know how to use the heat. But what I did is, it might be kind of hard to see, but I recessed the rear side of the landing gear block, so the block itself is tapered backwards. So the gear is straight, but the gear block is tapered. So that was much easier than trying to cut aluminum to the right shape and do all that nonsense. Ugh. Yeah, the fiberglass pieces turned out pretty well. They were kind of a mess. I mean, I'm extremely thankful that Fiberglass Specialties still has the molds for this and still makes them and sells them. But they're pretty rough when you get them. So I had to kind of make a framework on the inside to straighten them out. And of course, I did epoxy and micro balloons as well. So when it's sitting on there and sitting on the wing, it's got no gaps. It looks good. Now I just need to add a ton of Bondo to it to level everything out, because it's kind of a mess. But I can get to that at another time. So I think, yeah, we can actually take a peek inside there. Let's get rid of this. And we can see the landing gear mount. Normally the whole bottom of the fuselage is a 1/4 inch piece of ply, and you just run a couple blind nuts through it and bolt the gear on. Well, I cut the section of the bottom out where the gear's supposed to be mounted, and once again I cut a slant on the side of the fuselage, so the gear mount is tapered, or angled backwards. And very old school construction, triangle stock everywhere. Absolutely love it. That's the way it should be. Everything is super, super tight, because it is going to loosen up. And as usual, the covering on the top, the finish on the top of the wing does not look as good as the bottom. Go figure. But that's all right, because the top of the wing is going to be kind of busy. This type of situation is going to transfer onto the wings. So it's going to be some lines coming out this way, and then they're going to taper back like this. Pretty much it's going to look the same way as the box art for the airplane. So besides the modification to the gear mount, the only other way that this airplane deviates from the plans or how it would have come as a kit is I did not, let me start over. Through Fiberglass Specialties, you can buy the front hatch, the canopy hatch, cowl, wheel pants, clear canopy, believe it or not, and a fiberglass turtle deck. Because on the original Lanier kit, all of this stuff on top was ABS plastic, including the turtle deck. And of course, Fiberglass Specialties does not deal in ABS plastic. But I didn't want the fiberglass turtle deck either. That's pretty heavy, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it all finagled on there. So all I did is, utilizing this former up front, which is also on the plans, I put 1, 2, 3 more square formers in there, and they're cut to the right length and height going off the plans. And then I started slowly shaping them to match what this shape is here, and just tapering it down. And then I covered over the formers with 60-force ply. So you can see this is kind of squishy. I don't want to move it too much. The rudder will probably fall off. So yeah, the turtle deck is just 60-force ply. And it looks really, really nice. Turned out well. And in my typical fashion, when I covered it, everything is pieced together. There are so many different pieces of black covering back here. But as long as you keep your overlaps consistent and straight, everything looks good. There's a piece here, piece up here, pieces here, pieces here. You can kind of see in the glare where all my overlaps are, but everything is nice and straight. So it looks good. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't think there's anything else going on. Oh, if anybody's wondering, this is the paint that I use for the L39. The finish and color is just like that cap. And of course, this is the yellow I'm using. I'll be getting graphics from Cali Graphics when that time comes. And I think that's going to do it for now. Oh, I guess since we brought it up earlier, might as well take a look. Got the wings for the old Cub. Of course, the first thing I did when I bought this, because it doesn't have a wing tube or a joiner, this right here, this little hole and a screw, is all that keeps those wings firmly attached to the airplane. I mean, the wings bolt to the fuselage from the inside, but without these struts, those wings will just rip the fuselage in half. But anyways, if you build it per Balsa USA's plans, it has an obscene amount of dihedral. And Cubs don't have dihedral. And if they do, it's not supposed to. So anyways, Piper J3, no dihedral. So the first thing I did is I actually cut... No, I didn't cut these. I didn't cut them. I re-bent them and repositioned the holes in the fuselage. So that way the wings went from being like this to like that. So that was the first thing I did before I even flew it, is I dropped the wings. Looks good, flies good. Got the fiberglass fuel tank for the L39. It's roughly 130 ounces, so pretty good size. That'll give me a good flight time. More odds and ends for the L39, more hardware. Gear doors that I probably won't use. And the retracts are actually pretty good quality. I really don't want to yank them out because I probably won't be able to get them back in there. They're electric. Pretty scale struts, not bad. The wiring and everything for the brakes is all wrapped up just for shipping. But they're very, very robust. Should work out quite well. Comes with the gear controller and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Center section for the yellow T6 is up there behind the stabs for the Carf T6. And I kind of say jokingly that jokingly, yeah, I don't know. You know, the big Carf T6 was talking to me a while back and said, you know, I would really like to have a little brother. And I said, you know what? I can make that happen. And the finish on this is actually pretty good. I am not a huge fan of the Harvard, but I'm not going to repaint it. So I'm going to fly it as a Harvard. Why not? And a little close-up look of the Cub. Put a tank right dead center and right on the CG. Battery goes there, switches up there. Nice and convenient. I need to redo the floats. The struts are not exactly pretty. The struts for the floats are too long, so the thing sits ridiculously high off the ground. So I just got to rebend some struts for the float, and those will be good to go. I was going to strip it down and redo it, but I like the fact that it's got some spots where the paint's coming off the fabric and it's a little rough, but I like that. It looks cool. And it flies great. Snap rolls, spins, all sorts of stuff. And when you do it right, the wings won't come off. It's just like a full scale. Full scale J3 Cub can do snap rolls and spins, all that stuff, but you gotta be careful. You gotta keep the G's positive and keep them low. So, other than that, I don't think I have anything else really going on. Oh, the next step on this is to do that to that. So I got to make some templates and get things figured out. I am just not looking forward to that. That's going to be awful. Because this took forever to do. This took a long time. I mean, it was basically a solid weekend just doing these here. I mean, not the whole weekend, but yeah, it took a long time. I mean, it did turn out nice. And I hate the new cover red. It almost looks like Monocoat Missile Red, which is my least favorite color. But I wanted this to be all the new cover. But that new cover red is real bright, kind of has a like an orange kind of look to it. I don't know how it looks on the camera, but I really like it on this airplane because it shows up good against black. And once again, the last one I built looked just like this, same color scheme, except I used neon green on my last one, and that green faded instantly. So I just went with regular green on this one. So yeah, it turned out very straight. Wait, what do we got here? Wait, what's going on? That's a Stitz. Was it Sky Baby? Is that what that is? Well, doesn't sound like it went very well. This is just a home video from Striking Back 1989. Looks like we got a Byron or a Zeroli Corsair coming in. No? He's just cruising. Good stuff. So this was the paint I was planning on using initially for the L39, which is Warbird Colors water-based paint. But I did not like this color. It was too light. So I bought another one. That was too light. I bought this one, don't know why, because that's even lighter. So now I got a crap ton of money worth of paint there that I'll never use. Fantastic. All right. I have been yapping on long enough. I know it's been a long time since I've done an update. Just kind of wanted to show you what I've been up to. Ooh, let me put you on pause here real quick, and I'll pop open that L39 just so you can take a look at the inside. Hang on. All right, so this has the little, spring-loaded hatch latches like everything else has nowadays. Might be hard to see because of the light, but all of the plywood in there is the laminated with carbon fiber. Of course, the pipe is sitting in there. It's not attached because I got to get the turbine mounted, of course. But yeah, the quality is quite good. Once again, it's hard to see because of the light. And I mean, even where the nose gear mounts, this, it's got blind nuts in there. It's gobbered up with all sorts of glue. Nice and durable. And the inside of the balsa skin has like this, looks like a honeycomb type material, but it really strengthens it up. I mean, it's well built. Very well built. So I think that'll do it for now. I'm going to probably sit down and take a nap. All right. Later.